Imagine waking up one morning, stepping outside and choosing today's sky the way you choose a playlist. Clear mountain air for focus. Warm tropical humidity for relaxation. Crisp alpine oxygen for athletic performance. The air you breathe is no longer just a passive part of nature. It's a paid utility, delivered, filtered, engineered, and billed. This is the concept of atmosphere as a service, a future where breathable air itself becomes an on-demand product, customized, rationed, traded, and optimized like electricity, internet, or cloud computing. For all of human history, air has been the one resource we never had to buy directly. You could lose land, water, food, and shelter, but the sky above your head was always free. Even when pollution poisoned the air, it was still technically shared. But the more our planet industrializes, urbanizes, and warms, the more fragile that assumption becomes. Already today, people pay for bottled oxygen in polluted megacities. Already, submarine crews, astronauts, clean room engineers, and hospital patients live inside controlled atmospheres. Atmosphere as a service is not a sudden invention. It is the final scaling of trends already underway. The technological foundation of this future is surprisingly close. Advanced atmospheric filtration systems already separate oxygen, nitrogen, carbon dioxide, and trace gases at industrial scale. Air scrubbers can remove particulate matter, heavy metals, and biological contaminants down to the molecular level. Smart sensors can analyze air composition in real time, detecting disease particles, chemical leaks, radiation, or allergens. AI systems can model airflow behavior through entire cities, predicting how pollution or oxygen levels will change minute by minute. All of these pieces already exist separately. Atmosphere as a service emerges when they are unified into a continuous, automated platform. In such a system, cities would no longer rely on uncontrolled natural airflow alone. Instead, massive underground air infrastructure would circulate engineered air through neighborhoods the way power grids distribute electricity and data networks distribute information. Intake towers would pull raw air from the atmosphere. AI-directed purification plants would strip out pollutants, pathogens, and unwanted gases. Then, using programmable blending chambers, the system would inject precise concentrations of oxygen, humidity, temperature, and trace elements before distributing it into homes, offices, transit systems, and public spaces. For the average citizen, breathing itself becomes tiered. Basic free-tier air might be safe but generic. Adequate oxygen, minimal filtration, standard humidity. Premium tiers could offer hyper-clean lungs-grade air, enhanced oxygen levels for cognitive performance, allergen-free streams for sensitive users, even therapeutic atmospheric blends optimized for sleep, anxiety reduction, or recovery from illness. Air subscriptions could be bundled with healthcare plans. Your doctor might prescribe you a high-oxygen, low-irritant package for 6 weeks after surgery. The medical applications alone are staggering. Controlled atmospheres dramatically affect healing, immunity, and brain function. Hospitals already use oxygen concentration and sterile airflow to reduce infection and speed recovery. In an atmosphere-as-a-service world, those benefits extend into private homes. Chronic respiratory diseases like asthma, COPD, and environmental allergies could become far less debilitating. Pandemic response would change forever. Instead of lockdowns, entire districts could be switched into sterilized airflow modes that neutralize airborne pathogens continuously. Now extend that idea into performance enhancement. Athletes already train in altitude chambers to increase red blood cell counts. Imagine entire training cities with programmable oxygen scarcity or abundance. Students preparing for critical exams could study in cognition-optimized atmospheres with oxygen and temperature tuned to maximize focus and memory retention. Factory workers could operate in fatigue-reducing air blends. Even creativity might become atmosphere-assisted, with environments optimized for divergent thinking and emotional openness. But atmosphere as a service does not emerge only for enhancement. It will emerge first out of necessity. Climate change is already pushing some regions toward unlivability through heat, wildfire smoke, dust storms, and industrial pollution. In such environments, sealed atmospheric districts become survival infrastructure. Entire neighborhoods might be enclosed by invisible pressure barriers and air curtains, maintaining internal climate while the outside world becomes intermittently hostile. You wouldn't step outside anymore. You would step between atmospheric zones. As this infrastructure expands, ownership of air quietly shifts. Once air delivery requires private networks of pipelines, purification hubs, AI controllers, and maintenance fleets, it stops being a shared commons and becomes a managed commodity. The company that controls your breathable atmosphere controls your most fundamental biological dependency. This is where the concept becomes deeply unsettling. If water and electricity already grant power to those who control them, air multiplies that power exponentially. Economic stratification would take a new and terrifying dimension. Wealth would not only determine where you live or what you eat, but the very quality of air sustaining your organs. The rich might breathe air that slows cellular aging, flushes toxins from the bloodstream, and optimizes sleep. The poor might receive the legal minimum oxygen standards, filtered only enough to avoid mass illness. Breathing inequality becomes a literal lifespan divider. In developing regions hit hardest by climate collapse, atmosphere as a service could replace natural environments entirely. Cities might exist under vast air management shells where the atmosphere is fully artificial. Children growing up in such cities might never experience natural wind, rainfall patterns, or unfiltered sky air. Their entire sensory relationship with the planet would be mediated by corporate atmospheric algorithms. National security implications quickly become obvious. Control of air distribution becomes a strategic weapon. Governments could selectively restrict atmospheric access to suppress unrest, enforce quarantines, or apply pressure during conflicts. Instead of cutting electricity or water to a rebellious district, authorities might reduce oxygen enrichment, increase carbon dioxide within legal limits, or alter humidity to create discomfort without overt violence. Warfare itself could shift from visible kinetic destruction to invisible atmospheric manipulation. On battlefields, atmosphere as a service morphs into atmosphere as a weapon. Armies already experiment with aerosolized incapacitating agents, smokescreens, and chemical dispersal. In a future with total atmospheric control, entire combat zones could be saturated with tailored atmospheric conditions that degrade enemy performance while supporting friendly forces. Soldiers might fight inside oxygen-rich bubbles while opposing forces suffocate in denser, fatigue-inducing air. Beyond Earth, this technology becomes absolutely essential. On Mars, in orbital habitats, in asteroid mining colonies, there is no natural breathable atmosphere at all. Atmosphere as a service would not be a luxury. It would be life support itself. Every breath would be subscribed, monitored, and paid for. The line between environmental engineering and economic service disappears entirely. Colonists would not just pay rent for space. They would pay for each cubic meter of air sustaining them. Psychologically, the impact on humanity would be profound. Breathing is one of the last involuntary primal acts that connects us to nature. When even that becomes mediated by software, humanity's relationship with existence itself changes. The sky stops being infinite. The atmosphere becomes a metered interior. People might begin to feel subconsciously enclosed even under open skies, knowing the air itself is being rationed, optimized, and tracked. The data generated by atmosphere services would be vast. Sensors would track not just pollution but human respiration patterns in real time across entire cities. AI could infer population health, activity levels, stress, and emotional states simply by analyzing oxygen consumption and exhaled chemical markers. Breathing becomes biometric data. Your most basic biological function becomes a constant data stream feeding corporate and governmental intelligence systems. Privacy in such a world nearly vanishes. The way you breathe while sleeping, the way your oxygen levels fluctuate during emotional stress, the chemical signatures your body releases when you are ill or afraid, everything becomes detectable through atmospheric analytics. Insurance companies might adjust premiums based on how efficiently you consume oxygen. Employers might monitor workplace respiration data to optimize productivity or flag workers they consider underperforming. Even crime would take on new dimensions. Black markets for illegal atmospheres would emerge. Unregulated oxygen blends promising extreme euphoria, artificial calm, hallucinatory effects, or superhuman performance. Underground clubs might sell atmospheres that temporarily alter consciousness without drugs. Governments would constantly battle atmospheric piracy, unauthorized tapping of air pipelines, spoofed oxygen signatures, illegal redistribution of premium air to unlicensed users. Philosophically, atmosphere as a service forces a reckoning with one of the deepest questions of civilization. Should life support itself ever be privatized? When air becomes an economic product, the line between infrastructure and exploitation becomes dangerously thin. Supporters would argue that engineered atmospheres save lives, reduce disease, stabilize climate impact, and enable space expansion. Critics would argue that charging for breathable air represents the final commercialization of the human body. Religious and cultural responses would diverge sharply. Some traditions might reject artificial atmosphere entirely, forming open-air sanctuaries where only natural sky air is permitted, regardless of pollution or danger. Others might interpret atmospheric mastery as humanity finally fulfilling the ancient myth of controlling the elements. Breath itself might become ritualized in new ways, with spiritual significance attached not to natural wind, but to engineered life air. Children born into atmosphere-as-a-service societies would grow up with entirely different intuitions about nature. To them, air would not be something you take for granted. It would be something you choose, upgraded, optimized, maybe even customized to your personality. The idea of breathing raw, unfiltered atmosphere might feel archaic, even dangerous, like drinking untreated water from a river. Environmental movements would face a paradox. On one hand, atmosphere services could dramatically reduce pollution exposure and allow ecosystems outside urban zones to recover. On the other hand, once humans can simply engineer around environmental collapse, political will to protect natural atmosphere might weaken. Why fight to clean the sky if wealthy populations can just buy clean air instead? Atmospheric inequality could allow climate destruction to continue unchecked for those who can afford to escape its consequences. The business empires built on air would be unlike anything in history. The top atmosphere providers would rival today's biggest energy and technology conglomerates combined. Their infrastructure would stretch from orbital intake arrays to underground distribution grids. Their algorithms would shape how entire populations experience existence at a biological level. Share prices would rise and fall not with oil output or data usage, but with oxygen demand. Now consider the ultimate extension of this idea. Personal atmosphere bubbles. Wearable microclimate fields that generate individualized air envelopes around each person. You could walk through a polluted megacity while breathing pure mountain oxygen. You could enter a crowded stadium and remain in your own sterile atmospheric shell. Society itself becomes layered into invisible personal skies drifting through shared space. At that point, the concept of shared public air disappears entirely. Every person inhabits a private atmospheric reality. The atmosphere is no longer a unifying medium connecting all humanity. It becomes fragmented into billions of rented micro-environments. The phrase, "we all share the same air," would become historically meaningless. And yet, for all its dangers, Atmosphere as a service also represents one of humanity's most powerful tools for survival. As Earth's climate becomes more volatile, as space settlements expand, as pandemics and pollution threaten population stability, the ability to engineer breathable environments at scale may be what allows civilization to persist at all. It is both a shield and a chain, a technological miracle and a moral trap. The future of atmosphere as a service will not be decided by engineers alone. It will be shaped by lawmakers, activists, philosophers, economists, and ordinary citizens long before the infrastructure is fully built. Because once humanity crosses the threshold where breathing becomes a billable service, going back may be impossible. The sky itself will have entered the marketplace. And when that day comes, every breath you take will no longer just be an act of life. It will be a transaction. Hey everyone! If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button, drop a comment to share your thoughts, and subscribe so you don't miss any of our future uploads. Your support helps this channel grow. Thank you for watching.